Vietnam, a journey through civilization and natural wonders. Vietnam is a land where the echoes of ancient civilization blend seamlessly with the vibrant colors of nature. Situated along the eastern edge of the Indo-Chinese peninsula, the country stretches from the high mountains of the north to the tropical deltas in the south, blessed with both cultural depth and natural beauty. It is a place where centuries of history, resilience, and artistry are etched into the landscape, and where the natural world still commands awe with its rivers, forests, and karst peaks. Exploring Vietnam is like stepping into a living museum of civilization while journeying through one of Asia's most enchanting sceneries. To understand Vietnam, we must first look into the soul of its civilization, a story of dynasties, kingdoms, colonial influences, and the enduring strength of its people. Vietnamese civilization stretches back thousands of years, marked by both struggles for independence and remarkable achievements in culture, art, and philosophy. The ancient Dong Sun culture, dating back to around 1000 BCE, is celebrated for its bronze drums, intricate in design and symbolic of early agricultural and spiritual life. These artifacts remind us that Vietnam was never a passive observer in history. It was a cradle of invention and a center of cultural vitality. Through the centuries, dynasties such as the Le, Tran, and Le left behind not only political legacies, but also architectural and cultural treasures. Hanoi's Temple of Literature, built in 1070, stands as a monument to Confucian scholarship and the importance of learning in Vietnamese society. Hue, once the imperial capital under the Nguyen dynasty, still radiates with the grandeur of its citadel, palaces, and tombs, vestiges of an era when Vietnam's civilization flourished in the arts, governance, and philosophy. Yet Vietnam's history was not without hardship. Foreign invasions, colonial domination, and long wars shaped the spirit of the nation. The resilience of the Vietnamese people became one of the defining traits of their civilization. French colonial architecture, such as the elegant Opera House in Hanoi or the Saigon Central Post Office, reflects one chapter of Vietnam's encounter with global powers, while traditional villages with their communal houses, pagodas, and ancestral halls remind us of the continuity of local traditions. Even amid trials, the Vietnamese cultivated an identity rooted in family bonds, respect for ancestors, and an enduring love for the land. This love for the land is deeply reflected in Vietnam's natural beauty. Few countries in the world can boast such a diverse geography packed into a slender S-shaped strip. The north, with its mountains and terraced rice fields, reveals the harmony between human cultivation and the natural environment. In places like Sapa, one can witness the extraordinary sight of rice paddies cascading down steep hillsides, a living testimony to both ingenuity and patience. These landscapes are not only breathtaking, but also tell stories of ethnic minority communities who, for centuries, have preserved their ways of life and cultural uniqueness. The iconic Halong Bay, with its thousands of limestone islands rising from emerald waters, captures the imagination like a dream from another world. Legends say that dragons descended from the heavens to protect Vietnam from invaders, their tails carving out the bay and scattering jewels that turned into islands. Today, this UNESCO World Heritage Site is not just a marvel of nature, but also a spiritual place where myth and geology intertwine. Traveling southward, the Red River Delta unfolds into a patchwork of villages, rice fields, and waterways. This region has long been the heart of Vietnam's agriculture and the cradle of many traditions. Water puppetry, an art form unique to Vietnam, originated here, performed over ponds and rivers to celebrate both nature and daily life. The delta represents the synergy between land, water, and culture, an essential element of Vietnamese civilization. In central Vietnam, nature and history merge dramatically. The ancient town of Hoi An, once a bustling trading port, is a treasure trove of preserved architecture, reflecting centuries of cultural exchange with merchants from China, Japan, and Europe. Its lantern-lit streets tell of a time when Vietnam was a bridge between civilizations, open to the world yet proud of its own heritage. Nearby, the Marble Mountains rise abruptly from the plains, their caves and temples offering spiritual refuge for pilgrims and visitors alike. Hue, the former imperial capital, adds another layer of depth. Here, the Perfume River glides past citadels and royal tombs, while distant mountains create a backdrop of tranquility. The monuments of Hue are not only architectural masterpieces, but also symbols of the Vietnamese philosophy that harmonizes nature and human creation. The tombs of the emperors were designed as gardens, combining water, mountains, and structures in a way that reflected both Confucian order and Taoist balance. As we continue southward, the Central Highlands open a different perspective of Vietnam. Covered with pine forests, waterfalls, and coffee plantations, this region is home to diverse ethnic groups whose music, traditions, and communal houses remain integral to Vietnam's cultural mosaic. The gongs of the Central Highlands, recognized by UNESCO as intangible cultural heritage, are not merely musical instruments but a spiritual language, binding communities with rhythm and sound. The Mekong Delta in the far south offers a contrasting image of life. Here, the mighty Mekong River splits into 9 branches, creating a fertile land of orchards, floating markets, and endless waterways. Life in the delta is inseparable from the river. People live on it, farm beside it, and celebrate it. The floating markets of Cai Rang or Phong Dien are vivid reminders that commerce, tradition, and nature can coexist in fluid harmony. This delta, often called the Rice Bowl of Vietnam, feeds millions while also offering travelers a glimpse into a timeless rhythm of life. Vietnam's civilization is not only written in monuments or landscapes but also in its daily culture. The Vietnamese language itself, with its poetic tones, carries echoes of history and philosophy. Folk songs, proverbs, and poetry remain vital expressions of the national soul. Literature, from the epic poem The Tale of Kieu to modern works, reflects both the struggles and aspirations of a people who value beauty, loyalty, and justice. Cuisine, too, is a window into civilization. Vietnamese food is a celebration of balance, between flavors, between textures, between the influences of different regions. In the north, the subtle broths of Hanoi's pho warm the soul. In the center, the royal dishes of Hue emphasize artistry and refinement. In the south, the abundance of tropical ingredients creates bold, vibrant flavors. Street food stalls, with their bowls of noodles, fresh herbs, and grilled delicacies, embody the spirit of Vietnamese civilization, resourceful, communal, and intimately tied to the land. The spirituality of Vietnam is another layer of its civilization, deeply interwoven with its natural settings. Temples nestled in forests, pagodas perched on mountains, and shrines overlooking rivers reflect a belief that the divine resides in nature itself. Buddhism, Confucianism, Taoism, and indigenous practices blend into a spiritual tapestry that shapes not only rituals, but also the way Vietnamese people view harmony with their environment. Even modern Vietnam, with its bustling cities like Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi, reveals the continuation of this harmony. Skyscrapers may rise, motorbikes may flood the streets, but amid the energy of progress, traditional markets, old quarters, and sacred spaces still thrive. The Vietnamese spirit manages to absorb change while holding fast to its roots, creating a civilization that is both ancient and contemporary. To travel through Vietnam is to journey through contrasts, from mountains to seas, from imperial palaces to humble villages, from age-old traditions to modern vitality. But these contrasts never feel fragmented. Instead, they flow together like rivers converging into the sea, forming a unified identity. The natural beauty and civilization of Vietnam are inseparable, each giving meaning and depth to the other. In the end, what makes Vietnam so captivating is not only its dramatic landscapes or historic monuments, but the way they are infused with life, memory, and resilience. The terraced fields are not just scenic, they are lifelines of communities. The ancient temples are not just relics, they are living centers of belief. The rivers are not just waterways, they are the veins of a civilization that continues to adapt and flourish. Vietnam is a country that invites us to pause, to reflect, and to marvel. It is a land where dragons still sleep beneath emerald waters, where emperors built gardens that mirror the cosmos, and where ordinary people weave extraordinary lives in harmony with their surroundings. To speak of Vietnam is to speak of civilization and nature as one, a place where the story of humanity and the song of the earth are forever intertwined.